Everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bob's Garage. I thought I'd go back and just cover off, I think the last video I did is I had ran the wood chipper for a bit, took it up just to do a little bit of a test, find out what else is wrong with it. I wound up doing a whole lot of chipping for the neighbors, probably about 4 or 5 hours worth of chipping, so I learned a lot about it. So last video I just went through some of the repairs that I needed to do. This video is about the repairs I've actually done. A fair bit of different things, but in general it was working really good. The type of repairs are fairly minor in nature. A lot of it looks like it's just from sitting an awful long time. It doesn't look like it really got a lot of maintenance. But anyways, I'll go and show the details. Maybe one more video after this when I do some of the weld repairs. The motor ran fantastic. It started up very easily, and it never missed. Did really well. So I'm really happy about that. And that was just $100 for some used parts: valve spring, retainer, keepers, adjuster nut. I got a tappet, but I didn't get that far into the motor. So it's pretty good so far. I'm pretty happy. So this video will just be showing some of the repairs that have been done that I identified in the last video. Hope you enjoy this. If you want to see more details about some of the repairs, let me know. Most of the time I just show the finished work. I don't show the detail of the change. And thanks for watching.
Okay, I thought I'd just bring this. I didn't show the details of taking the anvil out. If you can't figure that out, you probably shouldn't be tackling it in the first place. But this was in really bad shape. So these are intended to be the four sides. Basically, it's a square block. This looks like it's never been flipped to the other side. It looks like it's been machined because it's about an 1/8 inch thinner, maybe even a 1/4 inch thinner than the original. It is wallowed out this way and this way. So I'm going to try, just for maybe another video, I'm going to try building this back up and squaring it. That's pretty normal. Just don't think this is just probably too far gone. But again, another indication that this has been gone too far. This is really bad. I don't know if you can see that or how well that shows up on the camera, but that's really bad. So explains the bad chips there. So I'm going to put this in a little bit different configuration too. You can see the little bit of bodgery going on here. The replacement kit they got from, this is just simple mild steel. I probably could have cut this myself, but anyways, I want to start with something known. A little bit different configuration the way this person did this. They used 2 set screws, and having this bar sort of set in a certain amount, and move this bolt back and forth. On the new one, you actually pulled the whole bar in and out by threading the bolt in and out. That makes more sense to me. This doesn't seem like necessary, but again, that's probably just the way it's got. Get all new hardware from Bandit, and I won't bother again showing it. But what I did do is on the chipper, I cleaned the mounting surface, so it's good. I'm going to put a little bit of a fluid film or rust preventive on the surface, and just to protect it a little bit. The back side, the front side's going to see enough impact; it won't be an issue. But the back side here could corrode. And so I'll bring it back maybe just to set it up. But really, all you have to do is set the anvil. I'll show you. You just have to set the anvil to the knife. You gotta set a clearance there. There it is. The anvil to the knife. And I gotta check it myself. I've seen some information, it's 120 thousandths, like an 1/8 of an inch. Now it's like 60 thousandths, so I gotta double check. But I get it installed. at least loosely. But like I said, I won't show the details of that now. Let me know if you need details about installing the anvil in this Bandit chipper. Let me know, and I'll go through more details. There seems to be a lot of videos on that though. So if you remember one of the previous videos, I was saying how the hydraulic fluid uses just 10W30, but also says down here that clean the tank once a year. So okay, took a look at it, noticed the hydraulic filter, that's been there for a while. Granted, it's outside, but that's pretty faded, and the rest of that looks like it's been there for about 10 years. So anyways, I started to drain it, and that's what came out. So there's moisture in there, and there's also rust. So what I'm going to do is unbolt the tank, and I'm going to flush out the tank with some diesel so I can see if I can get the rust. I'm sure the rust is settled to the bottom. With the electrical system, I've replaced, I don't know how well we can see in here. What I've done is replaced all the cables. So they were a 4 gauge. Now I got, getting a little dark out here near the end of the day. Now I got 1 gauge wired. I relocated the starter relay from the cooling shroud onto this bracket. I'm probably going to change that, is use some shelving angle. But I think I'll weld a tab on there. So I replaced all that and rerouted the starter cables down there. So you can see that there. And then put some identification wrap on there. Not done yet. We'll do the same thing to the start wire there itself. Gonna get some heat shrink on there so it seals up a little bit better, or replace the end. And as I mentioned before, got the new anvil in, not adjusted yet, just sort of roughed in, and it's got to be torqued. The half inch bolts, the 3 bolts, are 65 to 75 pounds. I can't remember the smaller is, but it'll probably just be like a 25 or 30 pounds for some of these other bolts. Did a little bit configuration what the person had before, but this seems all right. So that's all done, and to do that, it's pretty straightforward. You remove the tongue jack, and you mount it on the in-feed roller. There's a provision built right into it that you use that tongue jack to hold it up. And the only other thing is removing springs. And as I said, I've got a little bit of work to do. Can't see now, I've got it up, but all the metal is all worn out from this rattling a bit. There's lots of that's happened. And the other thing I've done so as well is replaced these bolts here for the everything's under a tarp because I'm expecting a bit of rain. But so that's tightened up this really well, but you can see that's also badly worn. So this fork I'll build up as well and get that a bit snug down, or I might just put some rubber fingers on the end of it, just slit some gas line and put it over the edge. So something to take up the clearance. Right now what's happening is, if you can see that, when you pull this back and forth, it's just rotating on the pin and moving that. So you need that a bit tighter. That needs to be rotating down there. So that's what I got done so far. I said more to come. I'll do a little bit more filming when it's a little bit brighter out. And still left to do, like I said, the welding, bit of straightening of metal here and there, the clearance of checking the clearance of the motor, and I think that's basically it. So this one should be interesting to do, but again, just a matter of flushing out the sediment that's probably forming the bottom of that as well.
Well, boy, am I ever glad I did this. Seems like every time I check out something, I find something that needed to be looked after. So the color of the hydraulic fluid, like, which I originally thought was just moisture in there, and then when I saw it being drained in the reddish hue, immediately thought of rust. But I'm ever glad I did this now. So the tank was a little bit of a struggle. Got it out. I'm not gonna lift it up, but the bottom was all full of scale. And underneath where the mount is, that's even worse, as you can see. So I'm going to clean all that out. We've got some mold growing over here. I'm going to clean all this out. Going to coat it, prevent it, with some rust conversion. But also look at this. I'm going to turn the light on here. I don't know if you can see that. The inside of that, this is the return line which goes into the filter. You can see all the rust in there. So I suspect I'm going to have to be changing out filters pretty regularly. And the reason I think why this all happened in the first place is this tank, which is supposed to be, what's on this side here, which is supposed to be 7/8 of a full. That's about 1.5 inches down from the bottom, roughly about there. So I make a mark here, roughly about there. It was probably down here. So all that air in that tank was a source of moisture, and I think the tank has been surface rust on the inside. So I'm going to flush it out thoroughly, as I said, with some diesel fluid. So I'm going to flush it out thoroughly with some diesel fluid. I'm going to take a abrasive wheel, clean all the rust off. Going to coat it up with a good rust converting coating and a heavy coat of a paint, and hopefully I caught in time. Now, I haven't gotten into the inside yet. I'm going to put my borescope down, but I'm pretty confident, obviously because it's an oil tank, that it's just probably the airspace above the tank. This obviously, the chipper was sitting for a while. So I'm not going to show you the details of me running a grinder and cleaning it all off. Let me know in the comments section if that's the sort of thing you want to see, but I'll bring it back when I've cleaned it up. Okay, so worked with a grinder, and this basically a descaling hammer from a welder for knocking slag off a weld, and I got majority off. And I wish I had a needle descaler. I was running this all the time. You know, the rust without the presence of oxygen forms magnetite, which is really hard. But I would like to have taken that down a bit further. Anyhow, I've knocked it all off loose. There was, as you probably saw, there was probably a 1/4 inch of mud across the front here. Just stuff got up inside and sat there. I'm sure that's the problem. I'll have to think about when I put this back together. So all I'm going to do is just use some stone guard or rubber guard undercoating to seal up. Just want to keep corrosion there. This is probably going to be a problem. I'll have to check every now and then. I also plan to flush the tank out every now and then. So this will give a good thick coating. And I'll keep the rust sealed, which should be a whole lot better. And at least slow it down a little bit. And I haven't got to the bottom of the tank yet. It's not as bad. The problems seem to be largely down here. Okay, I'm gonna let that set up a little bit to 2 coats. It's a little bit heavier. Probably should have done that a bit later. But anyways, you get the gist of it there. That'll give a nice seal, hold the moisture from getting into the metal. And I'll probably dump on a whole pile of this. Probably should just lay down some tar. Looks like I am though. Anyhow, I'll bring you back. Actually, I'll show you the bottom of the tank. It's going to take a lot less work. See if I can do this one-handed. Still got some hydraulic fluid in it.
turn the light on here. You can see pretty heavy wall. Looks like it's at least an 1/8 inch wall, and it's not as bad. So I'm going to run some cleaner or something on that. The hose needs to be replaced as well, but save that for another day. Not too bad to get the tank out anyways. Anyhow, I don't know if you can see in there, but took a look at it, and the inside is like brand new. There's absolutely nothing on the bottom. I can't see on the sides any signs of rust at all. So I didn't bother bringing it back. So I didn't bother bringing back for much. It's really uneventful. The bottom was a little bit more pitted than I thought, but still not that bad. Coated in same tar. Something I'm going to keep an eye on. It's a pretty thick wall thickness. Like I said, I think it's an 1/8 inch thick plate. Rinsed out, like there's no sediment in the bottom of the tank, which is fantastic news. I did see pitting on the walls. This has already had to make up one of the mounts of rubber isolators was missing, so I made one up for the back, clean up the existing ones. Oh, I guess I missed a bit there. I'm going to move them in a little bit. So this basically itself, I'm not sure how that would affect the corrosion. I'll have to think about it a bit more. This might actually be better near the edge. Anyway, so made that one up so it sits up, got that in. Just got to keep an eye on this, probably make sure I rinse it out every now and then. Everything's good there. Cleaned out the hose best I can. And what I noticed too on the so nothing's coming out of the tank. There's a screen on the inlet, but it's doing pretty good. One thing I did notice is fill volume is pretty important here. If you don't have it too low, you're gonna not get the suction to the pump right up to this point. So anyhow, doesn't look anywhere near as bad as I thought. What I can see, and you won't be able to see in there, but what I can see is just pits in the tank. The bottom's perfectly clean. So looks like what I thought has happened has begun to happen, where it's been exposed to a bit of air, because the tank, the air gap should only be about 1.5 inches top from the air gap at the top. It looks like that top surface has just begun to pit, but it's nowhere near what I thought it would be, which is a good news story. But like there is little pits, you can see little rust pits forming. But the bad news is, where's all the rust coming from? That's pretty dark. So is it somewhere else in the system? Anyhow, going to be paying close attention to this. I'll probably take in little bits of oil out occasionally so I can see what's going on. I've rinsed it out with diesel, but you can see in the bottom of the tank, it's clean. It's the problems, there's not an excessive amount. It's settled, it's to the point that it's settled to the bottom, which may lead me to believe that it's because it's been sitting. The top of the tank has got just the start of a little bit of pitting, but it's insignificant. Like I said, just a little spots here and there. So anyways, I'll keep an eye on it, but overall there really wasn't as much to show here as I thought. I kind of thought we'd find something much worse, so good news story all around. Also, just to go through some of the other things I've done. So I finished this up as well. Didn't show that. I had to drill out the old cotter pin. This may be backwards, you can comment if you like, but when I headed on the other side, the cotter pin kept on hitting this tab over here. And this seems to work. It allows me, when I store it, to put it like that and everything's okay. So that's all done. And I got the ammeter on, got the wiring corrected for that. Didn't really matter. Don't know if the charging system works yet. We'll have to get it going. But basically I'm ready to put things back together and refill and check a few last clearances, and then after that the only thing I've got left is just the typical wearable things. Like I said, the jack stand's been wallowed out. Even here I put also I didn't tell you this, I put a pin, but it's tight here. Over here you can see it's wore out a lot. So again, I'll just do that. I don't think I'll even videotape that, but I'm gonna fill in these holes, build them back up. And what's happened is I'm sure it started maybe rocking this way a bit or been forgotten a few times, but that won't take too much. So overall, things are going good. Not what I would have hoped for that. I will keep an eye on it, and don't know if I'll do much more for this video. I think I'll probably end it with probably just starting it up and running and check for any last problems. The last thing I needed to do was the voltage regulator. So I thought it was charging, but it's not. Like I said, I got an ammeter on, and I should have guessed it was reading 12 volts, 12.5 I think it was. Well, that's not good enough to charge it. So the rectifier regulator is right there. Real easy to get that out. So I'm going to do that now, swap it and start it up and see if it charges now. So I ran into the same problem. I can't pull this down any further because of the stripper, but I ran into the same problem as I did before. Probably can't see too well in there, but two little nuts, they're not captured, so they're turning. So it's got to drop the shield and grab another wrench on that side. Okay, all mounted back in again. Now the wiring is pretty easy, just two field wires on either side, and then the voltage output from the regulator. And the reason I'm replacing it is I found that wire broken just laying against here, so there was no point for the alternator to charge to, which will burn up the rectifier real quick. Hopefully it hasn't damaged the field windings on the alternator. So I just did a quick check of this. This might be a little bit hard for me to do. It's going to be real hard. So 17.4 volts. So I'm going to start it up now and see what we got. Pretty hard to do this with one hand. Last thing, just checked the clearance on the knife and the anvil, and it opened up. So I made up my own feeler gauge. It's supposed to be 40 to 60,000, which seems tight. This is actually 80,000, so it's on the high side. So I got it loose. So again, power off, like disconnected the battery, the jack up, another one, and I just run, let's see if we can get the light on in here, and I just run this up against the anvil and the knife, both at the bottom and the top, and it's good and even there. I'll make up something better down the road, and then just retorque this. I don't think I had these tight enough. I think that's why I opened up a bit. So everything looks good, but that should help prove the chip quality as well. So that was just a little test run. Said it did a whole lot more when I took it to do some work at a cottage. Wound up doing about 5-6 hours worth of work after I fixed the motor. This was just, I never got that on YouTube, but everything worked good. Now I've got the anvil replaced, a bunch of other repairs done, and chip quality's better. Wouldn't say it's great. Still got a few long strands, but that just may be because of the nature of the wood. But it looks to be a lot finer. I was getting just long strings before. And about the only casualty I had is the oil bath fell off. My motor runs great. Got some cleanup to do. Motor runs great. Put copper washers, replace the neoprene ones in there. Starts up great. Everything seems to run really well. So I'll be doing more work. I think I showed some of the things on this, but I'll be doing more work. A few more little things, like I said. I want to get some of the welding cracks and some of the old worn parts welded up. But basically I'm wrapping it up. Maybe one more video on this and that'll be it. So again, everyone, thanks for watching, and if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do it now. Thanks.